Donald Trump came to CPAC and he delivered the most deranged speech that he has given over the last 8 years since he descended the escalator in Trump Tower into American life. Donald Trump is a toxic figure, addled, getting crazier, and more unstable, it seems, by the hour. He brought his shtick of ravings and rantings, of grievance, conspiracies, and insanity to a half-filled room in Baltimore. It's amazing. The conservative hub of the MAGA movement, CPAC, can't fill a room for the former president of the United States. Yet, much of the American press remains enamored with Trump, believing that he's some type of unstoppable force in his quest to become the Republican nominee in 2024 and do what only Grover Cleveland has done, which is to serve non-consecutive terms as president of the United States. Donald Trump is manifestly unfit for any position of public trust and responsibility because he's mentally ill. He's crazy. He's a conspiracy theorist filled with malice, deranged at the idea of having been rejected by the American people and turned away from power.
In 2016, I declared, I am your voice. Today I add, I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. Not going to let this happen.
The people are sovereign in the United States. But Donald Trump didn't understand that because Donald Trump is the ultimate taker. And when Donald Trump was turned away from power, he decided he would take it. Now, of course, that failed. But what Donald Trump is signaling is something terrible. His campaign is built now around, as he said, retribution. Well, if you weren't in the CPAC room, if you weren't in the half-filled chamber, Donald Trump is talking about you. And that's a frightening prospect. He wishes to poison the union. He wishes to break it up. Donald Trump wants retribution against the people it was the highest honor of his lifetime to lead. He wants to punish, break, and destroy because he's a sick man. Now, the simple truth is this. Nearly every single elected official and activist within the Republican Party capitulated to Donald Trump. They surrendered their values and their principles for a seat on the train, the crazy train. They gave it all away. Each Republican member of Congress in their own way is a tiny Lindsey Graham. Each of them has demonstrated over and over and over again that they'll say and do anything for power. They are principleless men and women. And because they lack principles, because they lack loyalty, because they lack conviction and any sense of duty, responsibility, and obligation to the greatest country in the history of the world, they are collectively the great danger to the continuance, the future of the oldest constitutional republic in the world. What if you were sitting on an airplane and Donald Trump got on the loudspeaker as the captain and delivered his speech? Wouldn't you get off the plane? What if he was a doctor or a nurse or a bus driver? How is it that American politics is so profoundly broken that someone as sick as Donald Trump can command attention, donors, money in the pursuit of power, which he's so clearly and manifestly unfit for? The sickest reality show that has ever been on American television, sadly, has become the spectacle of American politics. It is a freak show that beggars imagination and description. Yet the dangerous events in the world, the events that can upend civilization, cause mass death, suffering, all of those forces continue to spin, continue to build. And Donald Trump seeks to become once again the commander-in-chief of the most potent nuclear power in the world, while simultaneously this time dropping the act and going right to retribution on day one. It's quite a thing to ponder. Last year, CPAC gathered in Budapest. They gathered there to celebrate a Central European power, a strong man. They gathered there to reject the idea of American democracy in favor of a form of European fascism. Their idol is Viktor Orban, who has shut down the free press, taken control of the free education system, and ended academic freedom substantially in Hungary. The movement that Trump instigated has metastasized, twisted, turned, and evolved many times over the last 8 years. But at its core, it is America's greatest threat to democracy in the history of the United States. The Trump movement sought to take power away from a legitimately elected president and to bestow it on a false one. Nothing like that has ever happened in the modern history of the country, and it must never happen again. The Trump campaign ahead, previewed at CPAC, will be an abysmal and atrocious affair. It will be a national disgrace, and it will be a source of national danger. No candidate in American history for high office has possessed the abysmal character, the judgment, possessed the incompetence and the malice of Donald Trump, the con man from Queens. This country was very lucky over 4 years that a disaster did not come our way, because if it had, it would have been terrible. As bad as COVID was, the 1 million people who died unnecessarily, the capacity for Donald Trump to do much more damage is very real. No one should have any doubt about that after watching the CPAC speech. We have someone running for president as a former president who couldn't conceivably be more mentally ill. His candidacy is a disgrace, only exceeded by the disgrace of those that support it. It is an un-American cause. It is an un-American effort. It is filled with malice, and it must be defeated.